All right, Honors 11 for Wednesday, the 22nd. So this week's story is Evelyn. So our previous assignment was read Evelyn, choose one of those foci that I provided for you, and find a couple pieces of evidence. So just to kind of go over some of those things, one of the foci you had to choose from was, is our character changed or unchanged? And man, this is a tough one with this text, with this story. It seems like maybe at the midpoint of the story, Evelyn is changed. Obviously, she's had a rough life. She's been abused. She has to take care of her younger siblings. She's kind of at a dead-end job. She finds a man who, seemingly loves her, although she's only known him for a couple of weeks. Right? He's a sailor. Do we trust this guy? Hopping from port to port to port. So she's kind of in a dilemma there on, do I stay in my present life, which is sad, a lot of mourning for her mother and her lost ones, either her brother or, just people from the neighborhood, or do I take this opportunity and start a new life? Okay. So, obviously the way she ends up at the end there, hanging on to the rail where she has her epiphany, she freaks out, right, and kind of has a bit of a panic attack and doesn't board the ship with Frank. So I think you could argue either way there. So I'm going to leave that up to you. And then bouncing off of that, the relationships between characters. So obviously she has a difficult relationship with her father. But then on the opposite side, she has what seems to be a great relationship with Frank. So maybe that could be something that you talk about. Okay, your first point is her life at home, and your second point is her life with Frank. Okay, so again, we're just doing a little 8-sentence essay: idea, evidence, explain. Idea, evidence, explain. Okay, with a thesis on top and a summary sentence at the bottom. Okay, no more, no less, please. All right, that's all we really need. Continuing off that, symbolism. Again, maybe the ship is a symbol. Maybe her house is a symbol. For those things going on in the story. I can tell you some of the things that are in her house, like the picture of the priest and the song that she hears down the street, are kind of symbolic of memories of her mother, who seemed to have died kind of slowly of some unnamed disease. What her mom says in the story is just gibberish. Okay, if you look it up online, there's a couple of people that say it means this or it means that. But from what I've gathered in the many books that I've read, it's just, a woman on her deathbed, speaking gibberish. So don't put too much stock into that. Okay, so, and then lastly, setting. So again, you could use her house, her neighborhood, the ship, the idea of going to Buenos Aires, okay, in Argentina, right? So, to leave, Ireland, which is not in particularly good economic shape at this time, especially if you're a 19-year-old girl. Frank essentially says, hey, I'm going to whisk you off and I'm going to give you a house, I'm going to marry you, and we're going to have a great life. So, is he lying to her? Is he being truthful? We don't know. Okay, so that's one way you could probably tackle settings if you choose that for your foci. So a lot of them kind of overlap a little bit. So make sure that you're just focusing on one foci, please. Okay, so a couple other things based on what I saw last week. I'm still waiting on a lot of essays, but short stories, people, are in quotation marks. All right, and then this comes from Dubliners. It's a collection, so it's in italics, just like a novel or a play. So Macbeth would be in italics. Pride and Prejudice would be in italics. Dubliners would be in italics, okay? Because it's a collection of stories. Not the Dubliners, Dubliners is what it's called. Okay, so just some things to think about. A thesis that argues and includes one of those foci, be kind of obvious with it. Some of our thesis statements were way too long. Don't tell me your evidence in the thesis statement. Tell me what you're going to argue. Keep it simple. Okay, why give away everything before you give away everything? All right, so let's kind of scale that back a little bit. For the most part, we are using quotes correctly, which is good. Again, you just can't take the whole quote and dump it in there. You got to mix it in with your own sentence. And then citing correctly just needs to be, Joyce and page number. Okay, so those are things I'm going to kind of ding you on if you're not doing those right. This will be a homework assignment, not a quiz assignment. I'll give you another shot at this, so hopefully you can improve some of these things. And maybe the last one that we do, we got 2 more stories to do after this, so maybe the last one we do will be another quiz score. So I'll give you a couple more cracks at it to get these things right. And that'll kind of be our final, I guess, because we aren't going to have a final. Okay, so our assignment, again, thesis and go, 8 sentence, no more, no less, same as last week. And, type up and send as a PDF so I can open it in Notability and edit it better. And please make sure it's double spaced. I am not going to grade it unless it's double spaced. Okay, so I don't know why we have such a hard time with that. All right, so again, if you have any little questions, based on your foci and the evidence and want me to explain something, by all means, shoot me an email. Because like I said, you can go online and you're going to find 10 different websites and they're going to say 7 different things. So, just stick to your guts. I've taught you, well enough at this point. You should be able to analyze these stories based on what I'm asking you to do. Okay? All right, see you guys tomorrow.